Black Fawn Distro's Takeover Tuesday, the official podcast of Black Fawn Distribution, broadcasting live across the planet and retransmitted on all major streaming platforms. Tonight's program is brought to you in part by Wellington Brewery's Hellas Lager, Deadly Grounds Coffee, Twisted Teas, and of course Canada's #1 genre film company, Black Fawn Distribution. You wanted the best? Well, they didn't make it, so here's what you get.
It's really not that bad.
You are going to hell.
Here's your host, Benner from Black Fawn Distro.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to the program. You're listening to Black Fawn Distro's Takeover Tuesday. I'm your host, Benner. And of course, hey, we're back with another episode. We've been off for a couple of weeks, but listen, we have two amazing guests here in the studio tonight. We've got Stu Stone and Adam Rodness from 5-7 Films. Stu is in the green room. Adam is just going to join us momentarily. Stu, are you there? Can you give me the thumbs up over there? Yes, he can hear me okay. And hey, we're off. This is Black Fawn Distro's Takeover Tuesday. We are broadcasting live to Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, and then retransmitting on all the major streaming platforms, including Apple and Spotify. Of course, please remember to like, follow, share, and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to us on. We really appreciate the support, of course. And if you feel like going the extra mile, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, as it will help recommend the show, to film fans and other horror fans across the globe. Of course, that not only helps us out, let's be honest, but it also helps spread the word about our incredible guests and the super cool projects that they're working on as well. So, listen, quick shout out to our sponsors, Wellington Brewery's Hellas Lager, Deadly Grounds Coffee, and Twisted Teas. Of course, they've been big supporters of us over the years, and of course through the pandemic. And we can't wait to see them again in person. But big shout out to those three Canadian companies, small independent businesses that are fighting the good fight. So thank you for supporting us, and we have obviously tried to do the same thing as much as we can on this program as well. So look, we've got a great program for you here tonight, because we've got filmmakers, as I mentioned, Adam Rodness, Stu Stone from 5-7 Films in the Black Fawn Distro Takeover Tuesday studio. They are, of course, the creators of the new film Faking a Murderer. And they're currently in the green room, as I mentioned, and we're going to hit them up with a whole host of topics tonight: horror movies, comedy routines, wrestling, baseball cards, you name it. But before we get there, we got to hit the news.
Top story. Top story. We'll give you the world. We'll give you the world. This may be the most important decision of your life. Can't stand the heat. Get out of the kitchen. Any special message for all the kids watching at home? You can't stand the heat. Get out of the kitchen.
Top story.
And remember, we care. We care. There are certain inherent risks that come with the territory. Top story. Top story. We'll give you the word.
Top story.
Okay, and we're back with the news. Let's get into it. Of course, our top story tonight is that, listen, conventions are back. We're pretty excited to actually get back out on the road. It's been a long time coming, but just wanted to let everyone know that Black Fawn Distro will be hitting conventions. Our calendar's filling up right now. We've got a lot of things coming up, but I can announce that we are doing Niagara Falls Comic-Con in Niagara Falls in June 2022, and we're also doing Fan Expo, hopefully, knock on wood, Fan Expo in Toronto at the Metro Convention Center in August 2022 as well. But before I say anything else, we need to talk about events. We just talked about conventions, but I'm talking about something that's bigger than a convention. I'm talking about Shock Stock. And that's right. That's also for those who've gone to Shock Stock. Everyone knows that it's pronounced Shack Stack, but Shock Stock is happening this year. It is back from the dead. Shock Stock lives April 29th and May 1st, 2022. Black Fawn Distro, as far as I know, will be in attendance. And I can't really say much about this event. Words cannot describe it. You need to experience it to fully understand what Shock Stock is. But it is taking place in London, Ontario this April 29th to May 1st. So end of April. It is worth checking out if you can. Shock Stock coming up to coming up to another edition. I can't remember which year this is. I think it's over 10, but of course, these are good friends of ours. They've been through a lot just from the pandemic and tried to get events off the ground. It's nice to see them back, and we can't wait to see them again and see all the shock stock craziness go down at the in London, Ontario, this April 29th to May 1st. So moving right along, let's talk about, of course, keeping this short today because we got a lot to talk about. I want to get Adam and Stu in here as soon as possible, but we have got. Let's talk about the fried chicken sandwich report. That's right. We've got a new graphic, the fried chicken sandwich report. That's where I go out and eat a fried chicken sandwich and tell you how good it is. And of course, back with another review. This is up in the top left-hand corner there. This is me enjoying a fried chicken sandwich at the Royal Electric, which is an establishment in Guelph, Ontario. This is the Buttermilk fried chicken sandwich. It's delicious, a bit of a birthday sandwich this time. So I tried to keep it even, tried to keep it an even playing field. I didn't give it any bonus points because it was my birthday. But look, it's a great sandwich, fantastic flavors, really good, delicious batter. It's buttermilk, of course. It's crispy. It doesn't fall off the chicken. It stays there. It's really, really good. And look, it's got sliced cheese, mayonnaise-based coleslaw, and some extra pickles on there. That's, of course, always a bonus and always get some extra points for sure. Throw another couple of check marks in the win column. This is the Royal Electric Buttermilk fried chicken sandwich. Taste is 100%. Okay. It's a little pricey because it's a restaurant, but that's okay. I'm giving it a 4.5 out of 5 rating. That is one of the top rated sandwiches that we've reviewed so far. So let's go to the standings. Of course, we've got the Cocoa fried chicken sandwich with 4.5. Royal Electric Buttermilk fried chicken at 4.5, and the Tall Tree Sandwich Co. from Hamilton at 4.5 as well. So a 3-way tie. I still have not found the best chicken sandwich out there. I still have not found a 5 out of 5 fried chicken sandwich. Please, if you know anybody who or a place that we need to go and check out, please let us know. Of course, unless it's like 500 miles away, we're willing to go and check it out. But drop us a line. Let us know. Takeover at blackfawndistribution.com, and we'll see if we can get out there and try out a fried chicken sandwich. As I mentioned, we are looking for the best fried chicken sandwich out there, looking for a 5 out of 5. And of course, it's a film rating system, right? There's no 6 out of 5 chicken sandwiches. There's no 6-star fried chicken sandwich matches. Okay. It's out of 5. It's a movie system. There's no quarter stars. It's half stars and full stars only. 4.5 stars. Buttermilk fried chicken sandwich, Royal Electric in Guelph. If you have a chance, check it out. And of course, people ask us all the time, hey, aren't you guys a film company? Why the hell do you like fried chicken so much?
It just tastes so damn good.
That's right, because it tastes so damn good. Now, moving on, our guests tonight, of course, are the awesome, formidable filmmaking duo, Adam Rodness, who is a producer, as well as Stu Stone, who is a director. These guys wear a lot of hats, okay, but those are their 2 main hats for sure. But together they make up the production house 5-7 Films, which has been responsible for such productions as the stoner horror cult hit Scarecrows, The Haunted House on Kirby Road, and the baseball card documentary Jack of All Trades. If you checked out our Instagram today, these guys kind of provided some photos, took it over, and there's an awesome photo of with Jose Canseco, one of the original Bash Brothers from Major League Baseball, on our Instagram now, which is amazing for me as a little kid. It was awesome to post that today. Their newest feature, Faking a Murder, is a combination of hilarious horror and hilarious comedy, and real life horror, as these filmmakers find themselves becoming part of the same alleged crime that they were financed to investigate in the first place. Having become established in the industry over the last decade, Adam and Stu have tons of stories and tons of projects to talk about. We're going to get into it with them. But first, let's take a look at this unreal true crime story. This is Faking a Murder. Adam and Stu from 5-7 Films are in the house, and we've got them live on the other side, and we'll get to chatting with them right after this.
Our shoot is officially happening.
Okay. Tell me which one found the tape? Which one?
We found the tape when we were online.
I found the tape when we were doing a routine exercise to find more potential projects for our company.
This could be our next movie.
Those 2 cameras right here.
We think he did kill somebody. We have found 2 people willing to go on camera. Adam and I are going to look for this guy.
I love you guys, but you're not investigators.
The next logical step is for us to investigate murder.
The money hits our account. Our shoot is officially happening.
First thing I see is I mentioned Stacy. Can we find an IP address that will link us to the city? It's not as easy as you think. There's a lot of work.
And it's from the internet.
Yes, this is the guy.
Rascals.
He goes by David Stoner.
First of all, have you been to cops?
Yes.
And what did they tell you?
They said that we didn't really have anything.
Well, you don't.
Just keep rolling. No matter what, keep rolling.
Okay, sir.
Cut it.
Sir.
Right here, there's a crazy amount of semen. I mean, you told us to lay low. We're laying low. Good. Now people might think you're
Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf.
Perfect.
All right, guys, enjoy the festival. Take care.
What if I don't find him?
If the job was to not find him, we could do that. You know, we need to find somebody that can
Actually find him.
find him. The trunk of that car. You see what is in the trunk of that car. There's nobody here.
Oh my god.
It's rude. Enough. Come home.
Keep on hearing something.
Think that this guy might be real.
I haven't seen anybody here yet.
It's the burn barrel. Burn barrel.
Do not go here.
Okay, and that was Faking a Murder from the 5-7 film team. Live in the studio, I got Adam Rodness, producer of the film, and Stu Stone. Guys, I am so stoked to have you guys. How are you doing?
Great. What a wardrobe change you did there. That was quick.
You know, I just like to keep it. I like to keep it flashy. It's a challenge for me to do that. And for those of you listening and not watching, I do a costume change for the news and then back into something else. And
like a full change. Like a full change.
It's real. Well, I don't wear any pants, so I mean, like it's just
there. You go.
It's just waste.
I'm more interested in the Zayers fried chicken sandwich. Zayers has a fried chicken sandwich.
Listen, I tell you, fried chicken sandwich at Zayers. It's just a lunch. It's off the hot counter, and it's like $5. It's like a decent size. Like it's not going to win any awards, but it's a solid sandwich. If you want a snack, you go in there. I think it's like $6. You get a giant sandwich and like a side of taters or something.
I think the best thing I enjoyed was that there's no such thing as anything above a 5-star chicken sandwich. Like you're not getting a 6, 7, 8, 9. You're staying in that 1 to 5 range. I think you're grading them properly. I'm a big fan of chicken sandwiches. I know that Stu and I have shared many a chicken sandwich. Roscoe's, chicken out in Los Angeles is a hell of a sandwich.
We're going. Right? I mean, how far away is that? 3,000 miles, right? Yeah, you couldn't bring it back.
Who's on mute?
I was asking about, never mind. I was going to say, we've definitely had a lot of chicken sandwiches, but my friend Lindsay, who's watching, doesn't eat chicken, but she may have been convinced to eat the sandwich based on what you just said about that previous Zayers sandwich.
I will say this: we had one of our guests is vegetarian that we've had in the past, and they recommended the pizza like non-chicken sandwich. It's like the fake. So I've had that one. Review is pending, but it's coming up.
It's coming up like which side, like up or down?
No, it passed. It passed for sure.
Good.
I'll tell you. I gotta say, on the topic of chicken sandwiches, I never miss a chance to get a dig in at Tim Hortons, but Tim Hortons chicken sandwich was like one of the most disappointing, like most of the other stuff on their menus. So sorry, Tim Hortons. But
wow,
yeah,
that's Adam's uncle is Tim Hortons. So
no, that's not true. It's Tom. It was Tom Horton.
Oh, my bad.
Just discovered that now, right? Live on the air. You hear it here first. Listen, like I said, thanks again for doing this. I know it's always hard to kind of combine everyone's like schedules to make sure something happens here, but listen, Faking a Murder. This is the new film. Obviously, it's been out for a little while, but it just hit VOD platforms across Canada. It's not like anything else I ever saw. So obviously, Black Fawn Distro is helping to put it out in Canada. It was also available in Hollywood Suite for a while as well, which it still is if you have that network on as part of your cable package. But talk to me about how this film came to be. It's a unique story. I don't think too many people kind of find themselves in this position that you guys did. How did this kind of walk us through how this kind of came up and how you guys chose it as your next project?
I mean, I think it's probably best if we start from the beginning, because that will kind of give you an understanding on how we became partners and kind of developed these concepts. But Stu and I were very close friends in our younger years. We've had a platonic relationship for the past, I'd say, 15 or so years. And then I met his sister when he was doing a show in LA with Jamie Kennedy. And his sister and I became platonic friends as well. And then that changed, and I ended up marrying his sister. And so we decided to get married ourselves on the corporate side, which probably was the best thing that could ever happen to Stu, because, hey, here he is directing movies and, living on his own in this big swanky condo in Toronto. And, it's just, it's worked out. But we actually really are true crime fanatics. We've been watching these movies like The Jinx and Evil Genius and Making a Murderer, and we were just so enthralled with what was being said on these streaming services that we're like, we have to find something of our own, because this was, such a huge topic and hot genre to be cashing in on. So I ended up going and finding this tape, and I showed it to Stu, and then Stu thought that it could be something if he put his own fairy dust on, and we decided that this was going to be the next project that we would produce together. And I guess, Stu, you can take it away from there.
Yeah, well, the popularity of the true crime genre really exploded. Like Adam referenced, The Jinx, and of course, Making a Murderer, The Staircase, of course, Orange Juice, O.J. Simpson, the People versus O.J. These were all becoming huge, giant. Everybody was
phenomenons.
Watching. Exactly. Yeah. And we got caught up and swept up in it too. I mean, we've always sort of paid attention to that stuff. I mean, I've been watching, Keith Morrison on Dateline since as long as I can remember. I can remember Unsolved Mysteries even back in the day, just watching the host do his little walk by the tree. And we wanted to see how we could get involved. And basically, we came up with the idea that we would go look for a killer. And we went to a few different distributors, and we pitched the idea. And people were like, well, who's going to go look for the killer? And we were like, we're going to go look.
Right.
And
as you do, right?
As you would, right? And
well, because Hollywood... I think just to back up for a second, we just did this documentary for Netflix called Jack of All Trades, and that was an investigative documentary that followed Stu, and he put together like this ragtag team of filmmakers. We go on this journey to find out what happened to baseball cards and their worth, and not only that, but what happened with the internal relationships with his estranged father. So we had a lot of this investigative,
but also the style of filmmaking too. We, when you're working on a documentary, for anybody who is out there who are other filmmakers maybe watching, or maybe film fans that are watching, documentaries are made out of you have to be really passionate about something to make a documentary. It is not like a get rich quick scheme to do a documentary. It is like all about, there's a story that you are so passionate about telling, but there's also a whole style that you get caught up and swept up in, which happened to us. But we were making this documentary. It took years. So for us to come up, what's our next project going to be, knowing what's something we could do that's cost efficient. We were already a well-tuned machine when it came to shooting a documentary. So we figured, why don't we make a horror movie? Because we were making these other horror movies. You mentioned Scarecrows, which is available through Black Fawn distribution now across Canada. Why don't we try to make a horror movie and shoot it like a documentary? And sort of, that along with the true crime thing and us looking for a killer, we ended up meeting with a company called Hollywood Suite, which is a great broadcaster in Canada. Great place to watch movies from, the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. And they carry our movie Jack of All Trades. So when we went and met with them, they were like, well, what's next? And we said, well, we're going to go look for this killer. And we showed the picture and they loved it. And, it's like you got to think that people pitch movie ideas all day, every day. So what can separate you from everybody else is to have really out there sort of risky, risk-taking ideas. Those are the ones that are going to get attention. And that's what happened with us. People wanted to see what would happen. If Adam and I go,
though, that this movie is really about, it's for like fans of true crime, right? Like this movie, you live vicariously through Stu and I on how you would approach your own true crime documentary without having any knowledge of how to really do it. So, that's the really cool part about like watching the film. It's these two average guys who are just obsessed like everyone else with true crime. And, they think they have this key to success and they're going to go out there and, attain it, but they really have no business doing what they're supposed to be doing. So this gives you a really in-depth look on, how would the average Joe solve a true crime murder case? And you really have to watch the film not once, but probably twice or three times to see exactly what we did and how we told the story effectively and originally. And some people either fucking love this movie or some people fucking hate the movie. And maybe because they don't get what we're doing or they don't understand exactly how we got there. But it's like a real crazy 50-50 polar opposite. I fucking loved it or I fucking hated it.
That's actually that's actually the review of the movie. But we have to change the F word because you can't.
Our next poster is going to be like, they fucking love it or they fucking hate it.
Did you ask if you're allowed to swear on this thing or you're just assuming that you can do that?
Oh, it's the internet. It's 2022. I'm assuming.
Well, I don't know. Maybe where they have a coffee sponsor that might not like that. I don't know.
A coffee sponsor definitely likes that. The beer sponsor, I'd be more wary of.
Yeah, no, listen, it's Black Fawn Distro, baby. Like it's cool, man.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah, you can swear. It's okay. I got a buddy of mine who also runs a podcast, and we had a conversation recently about, do you ever select the explicit box that you have to check when you're uploading podcasts? And we both agreed we just can't remember ever. So we always select explicit to send it up there. So, but they're going to get their money's worth for this episode, right?
Yeah. I mean, I got a bag of all dressed chips here and I got my drink here. I'm ready to go.
All righty.
I'm sipping on tequila. Let's fire away. Let's get into it better.
Okay. So, I mean, it's funny, like Adam, you were just mentioning the, the reviews coming in for the movie. And I think when people just watch the trailer, one of the reviews have actually, I can't remember which one, but called the film like a cross between Catfish and Deliverance, which is pretty spot on as to what this movie is. It's really, you guys.
Catfish was it was sort of one of the influences of this also. Like it really was.
And the way it differs is the fact that you guys start kind of investigating this crime that you've kind of located online. Whether or not there's any truth to it, you need to investigate it to be sure. It looks like it's something nefarious and that a crime is allegedly being committed. But as as people watch the movie will learn, you guys get roped into it. There's a lot of stress and you kind of see the filmmaking process from the ground up as you watch the film, as far as getting financing, pitching the idea, and then kind of having to deal with the ramifications. But how was that? What was the most challenging part of that? Once you kind of had your hooks in the idea of what you were going to do, that you needed to investigate this, how'd you get to the next step with the financing, and how did you get to the next step with sort of investigating? Where to start with the investigation, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at the movie and you get a chance to see the film, a lot of that is based and it's so meta because again, there's like 80% is like happening live as you're seeing it, 20% is us trying to figure out exactly how to take it. We're getting caught up in storylines that should be happening to us in real life and really are happening to us in front of the camera as well as behind the camera. It's like it's confusing.
I think what Adam's trying to say is there was no script. So there's not like a roadmap to follow when you're making a movie like this. We have an idea of the story we want to tell, but the people that we're encountering and interacting with, they don't know what we're doing. We don't know what they're going to do. And they could take us in any direction, which happened to us while we were shooting, by the way. And that's kind of one of the cool things about this. When you're shooting an actual documentary, a lot of these documentaries take a hard left turn somewhere because something happened that you didn't plan on happening. And of course, when we're laying out the story, we're hoping stuff like that's going to happen, but it actually did happen, which is really, really cool. Like there are actors in our movie, spoiler, but 5 of them, and over 55 people appear on camera in the movie. So you have Adam and I essentially trying to tell this narrative of us going to look for a killer, and all of the players that are playing in the game with us don't know the rules of the game and don't even know it is a game.
Right. And
essentially, just to go on that, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah. The public is pushing the narrative forward with not even knowing what they're doing or how they're going to be involved. The people who were in on it didn't get any type of
even those people didn't know what was going on.
We just knew that we could do certain things to them, and that we wouldn't be able to get sued. So it's like there was things that we had to be clever, and I'm serious.
Sign right here.
And it was a sign this, because it's like and it happened with a lot of people on our crew. They were hired on the crew to be part of a documentary film. They didn't know what was really going on. When we go and pitch Breakthrough, they don't know what's going on. This is all happening in real time, and we're just capturing it. And it's just the absurdity of what Stu and I are doing. So to play the game of what's real and what's not is throughout the first frame to the last. Like, you have to ask yourself that question the entire way through. And I think that's why people either love it or they fucking just can't take it and they hate it.
It's very pro wrestling, which that's like, we kind of paint all of our projects have a little smattering of pro wrestling in it. And this one, that one definitely does. I just want to go back to Catfish for 1 second, because I was watching Catfish when I ran. I was very late to the party on Catfish. I know it was a huge theatrical success and all that. I just didn't see it when it had its run. Mm-hmm. But when all of the heyday of Making a Murderer, which is, and Jinx and Staircase, and when we ran out of those, you still are looking for something. And I found Catfish and discovered, I knew what it was, but I watched it. And there's this scene in Catfish where these guys pull up. It's like in the middle of the night. I don't know. Have you seen that movie? Obviously.
Yeah.
They pull up to some barn. It's 2:00 in the morning. It's the address that they have for the girl. And they get there and it's the middle of the night and it's dark and it's a barn, and they get out of the car and look. And the way they presented that in Catfish was oh, well, wrong address. But I was watching that thinking there could be scary music playing here. They could go in there and get killed. You could totally rope somebody along, because I'm totally buying this trip that I'm on. And I think that that was a huge inspiration for, that was one of the aha moments of how can we do this, was seeing that and sort of looking at it from a hip hop lens and thinking how can we remix that? Anyway.
You know what? You mentioned the smattering of pro wrestling. I'm pretty sure that's why we get along. But I've always said too, as the most successful things for those people who aren't wrestling fans, wrestling has its roots in the carnival and traveling carnivals basically. And the idea that you can blur the lines between reality and what's real and what's not real, and blurring the lines between reality and fiction is an art form in itself. And it's interesting how you guys do that in this movie, because some of the things that do happen to you are actually real. They're unscripted, and there's a lot of things in the film that are
insane.
that are both they're insane. Some of them are, but I can tell you, as from talking to filmmakers and working with filmmakers all the time, some of this stuff is exactly how it goes down, especially with setting up budgets and all that stuff. It sounds boring, but it can create a lot of stress and a lot of drama behind the scenes when a movie gets made as well, right?
Yeah,
totally.
Go ahead, Adam.
Well, I just lost my train of thought now.
Okay, well, I was going to say that.
No, you go ahead.
No, please.
I really forgot.
Well, I was going to say that. Oh, okay. So I can actually say it. When wrestling is at its best, Benner, hardcore fans of wrestling will watch wrestling. They know it's a show, but they want to have that moment where they're I know this is just a show, but that was real.
Yeah, exactly.
That really hurt. What he just said to him, that was real. That's the part that is like the fine art of like what draws the hardcore wrestling fans in. Even with magic, I used to have like a little background. We did a magic series, Adam and I, and stuff like that. You know, magic is a quote unquote trick, but the best magic is the one where you're like, okay, I know this is all a shtick, but that was real. How did that? He had to have really done that. So
Listen,
that's faking a murder in a nutshell.
We essentially took the story that we had to make bulletproof. We had to have this backstory bulletproof. We need to know our ins and outs, backwards, sideways, whatever direction, because we were talking to real people. The first investigator that we go to talk to, this Detective Brian, is the real fucking deal. This guy worked on the Innocence Project for Stephen Avery at one point. He was part of that crew.
Spoiler, they didn't get him out.
Doesn't matter. This guy's the real deal. Yeah. He's a real private investigator. That we are actually going and selling him that this is a real legit thing that's happening.
Even the police, also the police.
We go on a ride along with Peel Regional Police. Like we're going like that's real shit. Like we're taking this story and pushing it as far as we can go and seeing who's going to come along for the ride. And to get back to my earlier point about the crew, there was one particular person who in the movie, her name is Michaela.
Michaela signed up. Michaela.
Yeah. In the movie as well, because it's real, it's her. She signs up to be our assistant, and she had nothing. She didn't know anything. Nothing. Zero. I'm going to get Stu and Adam coffee, this, that, whatever. I'll do some paperwork. And we had to massage her into thinking that driving 2 hours north on a Tuesday evening starting at 9 o'clock is normal. And then we conditioned her into doing these things, crazy things. Because in the movie, you'll have to go and see for yourself. But in the movie, we get her to do some fucked up shit. And she really does. That's all fucking authentic.
She's brave, man.
Insane at what she did.
She's brave. We
haven't really talked to her
since. She's a hero. She's a hero. She doesn't really feel like talking to us much, but I think she's a hero. And if she ever sees this, Michaela, you're a hero. You're so brave. And like you did what I would never do. If I was in your position, I would have never done what you did. And you are the bravest and the coolest.
It's crazy. So if you go and watch it, you'll see throughout the film, it's just bizarre that someone could accept these terms and went through with it. And it was, you see it happening live in front of your eyes. There's no multiple takes. This is happening as it happens with us.
All right. So, I mean, listen, if you saw the trailer, you just heard the pitch for this movie. If you're wondering what Faking a Murder is, I highly suggest that you go check it out. Of course, I'm saying that because I'm part of the distribution team that's releasing the film across Canada, but it is available on demand through your local cable provider, including Rogers, Telus, Shaw,
You've seen it, right?
Cogeco, and SaskTel. Sorry?
You've seen it and you love it.
Yeah, I've only seen half of it. We just released it without watching the end. Is that okay?
That's Black Fawn for you.
But anyone listening tonight, tuning in, we got a pretty decent audience. Please leave your comments and or your questions for Adam and Stu or myself down below in the comment section. We'll try and throw them up throughout the broadcast in real time and get some answers for you if we can. Yeah, again, I just wanted to like we mentioned, you mentioned before. So your last film, which was the documentary, actually played on Netflix as well, Jack of All Trades, which was a documentary, obviously a family element to that as well. Do you guys are brothers-in-law. I'm not sure how you guys both feel about that, but what brings you back to working together? From project to project, you've obviously gone out and done sort of your own stuff on the side, but you kind of keep coming back to 5-7 films and developing new feature films. Like what brings you guys back together?
Well, I mean, I could. Do you have a good one for this? Because I was gonna. Go ahead if you have something. You got something?
Am I under you? Because I was looking up Brady Bunch style.
I'm looking down at you.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, you know what? We are family at the end of the day, and that's the number one magnet that I guess my sister is the magnet that sort of brings us together there, but. No, listen, the creative process is a very difficult one, especially when you have two people that are very creative and both want to be right. I mean, we're editing our new movie now. Earlier today, Adam was dissing the hell out of one of my ideas, and we got into it. And then he won in the end, and we kept what he wanted. But that's a whole other – that's an interview for the next movie.
I'm pretty sure that's not how it went down.
Anyway, We know at the end of the day, we see the finish line, and we do at the end of the day turn out products that we're very proud of, that look good, that sound good, that have good performances. We know that when we put our best efforts forward together, that we're an unstoppable duo in many ways. There's a lot of people that can't do what we do, and we know that, and we just wanted, it's undeniable. So, it's a bumpy road when you're doing creative work with anybody, especially someone that's like your brother-in-law. But at the end of the day, in an industry where, trust is so hard to come by, I can trust Adam and he can trust me. And that's a great foundation to start a company from right there. Right. We both have similar aspirations. We both have similar goals. We started this company as a way to create opportunities for ourselves. We're both performers. So we always thought, hey, we'll start doing these horror movies and eventually we'll be in them. And here we are. This is Faking a Murder, and it's like exactly what we wanted to do.
Right.
So things are going really well and continuing to move in that direction. And yeah, we probably want to kill each other a lot, but that's part of what makes it magical. I'll let Adam, maybe he disagrees. I don't know.
Sorry, I was really just looking at myself the entire time.
That's also Adam.
So no, I think
he's the Lex Luger of the group.
I think you have what makes this worthwhile is that we're passionate, and we share the same passions for creating and writing and performing. It's we have to, if we could do this, full time, 7 days a week, 9 to 9, like we would. But there's other things that come up and opportunities that do pull us away on other productions. Stu was producing a TV series with Vice called The Dark Side of the Ring, which is an incredible series that's been up for a number of seasons. And
yeah, that's a fantastic show. Like I just watched one of the episodes actually last night. I think it's the finale, right? But we'll get to that in a second. But
yeah, I was just gonna say, then I was able to go out and.
But you've produced a number of music videos yourself, right?
I've done. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, I did. I was doing. Listen, when he was doing that show, I was doing a bunch of these like Christmas movies, and before that,
Adam also has produced videos. He's produced videos for Drake, Usher, Eminem, Black Eyed Peas, Gord Bamford. I mean, he's worked with a lot of the heavyweights in the industry. No, but for real, Adam, the last 3 Drake videos, Adam worked on them. Me and Adam are actually in a Drake video, the Lil Yachty Drake video. But yeah, I mean, Adam has really come up huge as a producer, and that's the other part. I guess I left that out earlier. But, it's like he's very good at what I'm not good at. And, I'm pretty good. I'm really good at stuff that he's pretty good at already. So, because he's good at everything, right? But I will say that, he's come such a long way in such a short amount of time, and it's impressive. He's a heavyweight producer in his own right, and to have him producing our films, I know that we're in good hands, and we're gonna get the best things that we can. It's gonna be the best it can possibly be, because that's how he sort of pushes everybody.
So that's an interesting thing, because I think it's kind of sort of ties together as well. Because I mean, obviously you've gone off and done other projects. You come back to the film to 5-7 Films and work on projects together. With that, is it a question that you guys are comfortable in your own lanes, and that, not to drop another wrestling reference here, but why not? Like, know your role type of thing, shut your mouth kind of. So it's like, I'm really good at doing this, so I'll do this and I'll continue to do it. And you're pretty good at doing this and you continue to do that. Is that kind of how you guys approach?
I mean, on paper, yes, but we are terrible drivers and we end up in each other's lanes all the time.
Yeah. Well, you can change lanes, but you just got to signal, right?
Yeah, we don't signal. We cut people off and road rage, all of it.
Well, I think we're learning, and it's still a process to always continue to learn. I mean, if you don't learn and try to figure out how to improve and to say it sounds cheesy, but practice hone your craft, get all that shit out there and discover new things. I think that's like the best part of this, or else what the fuck are you doing it for? But Stu and I that's why we get along so well. We started the company is because we like the same things. We like to write, we like to create. We like to have, the funny line. We like to have, we both want to be in front of the camera. We both will do the same type of roles. We're both, the same height. We're both the same build, I'm a little bit muscular, but we're both, it's just, we're so alike and have some amazing qualities that mesh perfectly, and others that, come head to head. But I think, and again, going back to the passion, if we're both so passionate and care so much,
we have the same goal.
Those
same goal. We just are like holding different maps sometimes of how to get to the destination. But the destination is a commonality.
And he loves analogies. He loves analogies, by the way. He will talk in analogies for.
And Adam loves being on like the main screen. So leave him up here as long as you possibly can.
Well, I forgot to mention this off the top of the hour, but Stu, this is your second time on the program.
Yes, and 3 more times until I get a jacket.
Yes, that's right. And we have purple jackets ready to go for anyone who hosts or comes on. I
was hoping for one of those like vests, but I'll settle for the jacket.
That's a Black Fawn Films thing, man.
Yeah. Never mind. My bad.
But listen
about that.
Yeah, I mean, well, Chad will have something to say. You can always ask Chad. You never know, right? There could be an extra one kicking around. I'm not sure. I've never received one, so I'm just gonna say that out loud. But listen, like speaking of commonality, one of the things that's sort of frequent throughout all of your films that you've kind of produced over the last few years is your ability to kind of mesh horror and comedy. And that's a really tough thing to do, and in different situations, right? Like Scarecrows, obviously a scripted horror film, but it's got a lot of comedic elements to it, and it's a funny movie under the surface of what's a horror film. And this film is kind of the reverse of that, right? It's sort of like it's almost like a real life true crime horror film, but it's also got these comedic elements kind of laying like underneath the surface as well. I just feel like that's just like an honest way of presenting Faking a Murderer. But how do you guys approach a film as far as like combining those two genres together? Because comedies, it's hard. It's hard to know what's going to hit and what's going to be relevant to the film that you're making, right?
I mean, comedies are number one for us, and that's always been sort of like a blessing and a curse for us. It's really ironic because like our journey is becoming a film company, kind of is a lot of it has to do with Black Fawn Films. Chad and Cody and the team were out making these horror movies, and they were doing really well, and the distributors were looking for other people that could like deliver films at that level, and that's how Adam and I got started. And Chad and Cody and their movies are very dark, very traditional horror movies, right? And so we wanted to make ours different, and we wanted to sort of bring like a more humorous element to it. And secretly we've been writing comedies this whole time. If you watch Haunted House on Kirby Road or Scarecrows or Faking a Murder, they're funny movies. And I think that's something that you're going to get from, that's our main ingredient.
That's our bread and that's the margarine.
We call it stoner horror or stoner.
The margarine that we lay onto the toast and that we eat in our mouths and digest in our stomachs. That's how I would approach it. No, we have the funny bones in both of us. We think we translate it pretty well on paper. We try to like put ordinary people in the most insane circumstances possible. That's the trick.
I know.
It's kind of like the Alfred Hitchcock formula.
That was almost like a real bad name drop there.
I almost slipped there. It's okay, Alfred. And that's how that was his main ingredient as well. It's kind of like taken from pioneers like filmmakers like Hitchcock and trying to give us our own spin on it.
But so you also you like you said earlier, choose your lane. Like this is the lane that we want to create for ourselves. Leave the snuff to the guys that do snuff. Leave the torture porn to those guys. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do the stoner horror. Like that's our lane.
Like who's the snuff guys? Who are the snuff guys, by the way?
You got to watch some of the movies in the Black Fawn distribution catalog.
They don't do snuff. You guys do snuff?
No, we don't actually. That's a joke. That's a joke for people listening.
Well, you have
not
to
being
pay
able
with
to see.
crypto to get that.
I know. Well,
those
it's
movies.
funny. There's a lot of podcasts nowadays that like they have to go back sometimes and say, oh, when we were talking about this, we were using quotes because we did it on video initially, but when we posted online, it just seems like we're talking about something completely different. So yeah, for anyone listening on our retransmissions on any of the podcast platforms, no, we don't put out snuff. Just for clarity.
Yet.
Well, I'm waiting for the new 5-7 movie, man. That's
coming.
Spoiler.
Very snuffy.
We're doing a comedy snuffy.
A stoner snuff.
Just a snuff film, but just with Snuffleupagus, like
snuffy
in the movie.
Who killed Snuffleupagus?
Sorry, what was that?
Who killed Snuffleupagus?
Did he die?
No, I'm just saying that could be the movie.
I remember when I was talking to Chad when you guys were actually in the process of filming Faking a Murder, and it was I think it was during TIFF when you guys went down and did the Hollywood Suite. It was like an event when we used to have those, before 2020, and there's a ton of people there. I remember Chad went down in person. And he was telling me about it, and he was just like, "Yeah, so I was like, how's TIFF going?" He's like, "Yeah, I went down to like the Hollywood Suite, like the 5-7 thing, like they're doing something with Hollywood Suite, and it was like an event. So like like Adam and Stu, and I was like, yeah, I know those guys because this was a couple years ago." And I go, "Oh yeah," I said, "How was it?" He goes, "Super weird, man. Like super like I love those." He said to me, he goes, "I love those dudes, but like." I don't know. They got up and they started talking about like this true crime thing that they were working on, and everything was going good. And then he said, Stu leans over and goes, "Murder," into the microphone. And he goes, and there was no reaction. He's like, it was just super awkward. Anyway, that's in the trailer we just watched. And after we saw the film, like I couldn't stop laughing at that. I called Chad right away. I was like, "Dude, that's in the movie." and he just laughed. He goes, "Oh man," it's like, "That's hilarious." Because he's like, I can tell you in real life, like he's like, I thought that was just like I didn't know what was going on. I was like, is something else supposed to happen here, or like did these guys just? Is this planned, or is this off the cuff, or what's the deal?
I listen, man. I'm telling you, this without going into detail, because we don't want to ruin it. This is the type of shit that we urge you to go and watch and see. This is the genius of the film. I'm not being biased, and we actually did something that's pretty out there and crazy. And you will see the type of shit that we pull at these public events, and with these people who are just trying to do their day jobs. It's all it's real and it's crazy and it's unreal and it's everything.
Marks, if you will.
Marks. Yeah, I was just keeping an eye on the time. I feel like
but it's hard to figure it out. I'm telling you, you have to watch it back 3-4 times to probably see, try to find those seams. But it's almost seamless.
Personal goal for this episode is to make a wrestling reference every 5 minutes at least, right, Stu? Yeah, and Adam, I know you're a big. I didn't know actually that the other day that you're a big wrestling fan too. But
yeah, no, I used to. I've taken a couple bumps in my day. I've
both wrestling and drugs.
Oh yeah, no, I was talking about drugs. I have wrestling. No, I did. Yeah, sorry, I did get clotheslined once by a guy. His name was. So I started. I mean, we could segue here if you want. I think it's great.
Into your life story, or.
Yeah, into the wrestling short story, which is fucking awesome. But I was obsessed with wrestling. Our two friends had a independent wrestling
the Megan Boys
that they went to different colleges, the Megan Boys, John and Paige, and they would invite me to come out and they bought a ring, so we're like, oh, now we have to go to like wrestling school. So we would go to Niagara Falls, and there was a wrestling school in Niagara Falls. I forget who taught it. But we learn the basics and, all the stuff. And we come back and we put on these shows. And they would bring in big names, the Honky Tonk Man, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, King Kong Bundy. And we did a show at Seneca, which is actually right beside Stu's mom's condo. And they said, okay, you're going to go and you're going to be the ref. And I'm like, yeah, I would love to ref. That'd be great. So I learned how to ref, and then I got visited by a man named J.C. Owens, who was this 550-pound man. Like, he was huge, And I am this like maybe 133-pound Jewish kid from the suburbs. And he gives me a clothesline, and I fall down on my back on the mat, and he jumps up to give me a leg drop, and his fucking foot and heel and leg was so big that instead of going across my neck and my torso, it landed on my fucking nose and broke my nose. And I get back up, my nose is fucking gushing. People think that it's like a work, and I'm like crying, and it's the most insane pain I've ever felt in my life.
And how old were you then when this was going down?
I must have been like 19, 20, like early 20s.
Okay.
Like it was like, I thank God, because I was, really flexible, unbreakable at that point. But that was my first and last, match in the ring with the wrestler. I did ref a couple more times, and then, Stu and I became co-refs for a couple shows, and we had our own thing. We were called Tito and Dusty, the Rodness brothers. We played. It was a Mexican heritage, and it was great. It was funny. It was awesome. We had a good time. Lucha. It's been a while.
You're believable. I believe you as a ref, though. Like you're a funny guy, but you're.
I showed up for my first gig to ref, and Rodness was like the senior official. He had already worked like 3 shows.
I have this.
What do I have to do? He's like, it's easy. Whatever they're doing in there, they're not supposed to be doing it. So whatever they're doing, you tell them stop doing whatever they're doing the whole time. If they're pulling hair, no pulling hair, no choke. Watch the choke. Everything big with your hands, and no. So that's what I did. Anything that they would do in the ring, I would be
even if you got punched in the face, like that punch was too hard. Get that punch.
Hey,
come on, soften up that punch.
Watch that close
fist. Yeah.
So the rule of being a wrestling referee was whatever they're doing, they shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah. Well, I always feel like, I mean, for those people who don't know you, and I've talked to you a bunch of times, and it's like, I always feel like, and I've said this to you guys as well, is that reason I said that was like, Adam's, I think, a believable ref because he always does seem to play like the straight man with like in this comedy duo, right? Because I find times I talk to you guys a lot, and I actually don't know where those lines are between what your real relationship is as far as just being like 2 dudes who are making movies, and like whether or not you're like, hey, you know what we should do? We should tell Benner this because he'll probably believe it. And yeah. Like the mic
actually came to bite us in the ass.
Like the mic incident the other day.
Yeah, that was real. People think that they don't know what's real, and it's the faking a murder thing doesn't help, obviously. But on our new film, Bandits, the day before we went into production, it's a Christmas heist movie that we shot in Winnipeg. The day before we started filming, all of our gear got stolen, and we went on, made a plea like, hey, our stuff got stolen. Help us. Everyone thought we were lying because they saw faking a murder. And so they just assumed that this is just...
We cried wolf one too many times.
Yeah. Well, I thought you guys were lying. Like we thought everybody you guys were lying for sure. Like we saw that, and I was like, I think it was Chad that told me, he goes, hey, did you see this? And he sent me this link, and I was just like, oh, dude, that's like, I don't know if that's real. Like, and he's like, no.
Shoot.
And then I went into and then I heard from somebody else, and they said, no, that actually happened. Like that, like the equipment is gone. And then somebody else, I was like, nah, I don't know. And then somebody else told me, like, it's Winnipeg, like it could happen, right? And
it did,
and it did happen. So yeah. I publicly, I apologize for
it wasn't just you. Our parents, our best friends, family, the news, everyone, like, CP24, followed up, and they thought this was the whole thing was a sham.
A publicity.
We had like the CTV News in Winnipeg actually went to go as far to go get the police report to make sure that this was actually authentic. Like they had the police report on the news. Oh yeah. And they said, Stu and Adam's mom, take a look. This is actually happening. Here we have the police report. It went that far. It was crazy.
And you've had experiences like that in the past too, with when you did Scarecrows. There was a report that that came out that kids were getting stoned and wandering into cornfields, which, obviously people can get lost and, all kinds of things can happen. You guys had to put out like a press release about that, encouraging people not to do that. And it was just a movie. So it's like, you always have something kind of tied to your releases. And is it fair to say that it's actually not on purpose?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, listen, some things are like coincidental, some things is good timings, bad timing. Things happen for a reason. Any publicity is good publicity. It's like, like people know whether we, want to think that how to play. We don't have money to market, right? So whatever thing, if we're going to get our stuff stolen in Winnipeg, we're going to go on the news and let everyone know about it. And now everyone knows about the movie. That
we're in the lemonade business, Benner. We make lemonade. If we get lemons, we're squeezing every bit of juice out of that lemon and quenching everybody's thirst. And so, like,
until it turns into an orange.
Until it turns into is that?
Yeah, it is.
That's an old saying.
It's an old saying. Yeah, we're squeezing the lemon until it turns into an orange.
How old of a saying?
Probably a few years.
at least 3 years old.
Fair.
So listen, guys, like we're encroaching on the hour here, but if you guys are willing to stick around, we do have a couple more questions for you as well, and we do have a rapid fire section that I got to put you guys through because no one's absolved from the rapid fire section. Stu, what this is all about because you've been on the program before, but Adam, this is your first time. But I got some questions for both of you. Are you guys willing to do the rapid fire?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. And rapid fire brought to us by Wellington Brewery's Hellas Lager, who they are our beer sponsor. Of course, you can take advantage of Wellington Brewery's free local delivery in the I think it's the Guelph Waterloo area, or, visit their local brewery store in Guelph, or you can pick up some cans at your local LCBO or wherever you pick up your adult beverages in Canada. They are a fantastic brewery. They keep us powered on the convention circuit as well as through the pandemic. And they've been great supporters of us over the years. So Wellington Breweries, Hellas Lager, Hellas. Yeah. So, okay. So here we go. We got 5 questions for you. Let's go. Let's jump into the first one. Yes or no? Directed by Joe Dante, written by Chris Columbus, and executively produced by Steven Spielberg. Is Gremlins a Christmas movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Stu? Okay.
Sure.
Perfect. Rapid fire number 2. You got to pick one. As we all begin to emerge from our pandemic cocoons, what is the film that you're most looking forward to seeing in a packed theater in 2022?
Sorry, go ahead. You're going to go first.
A packed theater. I mean, I'm looking forward to go to theaters. What's coming out in theaters? I haven't been advertised so much to know exactly what's coming out. I think I like to go. You know what would be really cool is to go back and see like an old school horror movie, a Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street, something like that, into a theater. Welcome back to cinema type of thing. Paying homage to the classics. I would love to go see like a classic horror festival with a packed theater and scream and laugh and enjoy all those emotions. That's what I would like to see.
I'm looking forward to getting back and seeing a movie that's going to blow my mind. And I don't know what that movie's going to be yet because you never know. But, there's been, even during the pandemic, you had a lot of like the classic directors release stuff. Paul Thomas Anderson just put out something. There's people that are putting out movies again, and I'm looking forward to it. I don't necessarily have a specific one, but maybe the movie I'm most looking forward to seeing would be Bandits, which is coming next year or later this year from 5-7 Films, the Christmas Caper.
Official tagline?
Well, it is now.
Unofficial. It's the unofficial tagline.
Working title.
It's unofficial.
Okay. Listen, I told our audience that there'd be some wrestling stuff on here. Of course, we've already delivered on that. But rapid fire question number 3, just in case we actually didn't have those references throughout the first half of the show. I've got help. Listen, help us out. Who is on your wrestling Mount Rushmore? And extra bonus points if you can provide acceptable answers without any repeats between the two of you. Go. You guys can go tit for tat if you want.
Do we have our own
Rushmore? Mount Rushmore is 4.
Combined.
No. We can each do it's like a draft. So it's like if I pick, you pick a name, I can't have him on mine.
Are we going? Okay.
So who's your first?
Probably wait. I mean, okay, HBK definitely.
HBK. Yeah, these are not in order though. It's just like any order.
Yeah, any order. No particular order.
Yeah, so
who are the four faces
off the board? HBK off the board.
HBK is off the board.
All right. The board?
Well, what does that mean? I can't pick him. You just took him.
That's right.
He's off the board. I'll go with this could be a controversial pick, but I'm gonna go with the Nature Boy, Ric Flair.
Okay. Adam?
The Ultimate Warrior.
Oh wow. Okay. All right.
I am gonna go with Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig.
Wow. Never held the world title, right?
No.
Kurt Hennig.
Listen, if we're going the real Mount Rushmore, Stone Cold Rock, Cena, all that stuff. I'm just going my own personal.
Okay, wow. That's what I asked. Yeah, that's the question.
All right,
Adam, you're up.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. I mean, like I like to be weird with it, but I also I'm trying to. I think I would have to. Oh man, it's tough. I'm gonna go with just because he used to cut my aunt's hair, Mr. Tito Santana.
Tito Santana. Okay.
I don't think he's on anybody's mouth. That might be a Black Fawn Distro exclusive.
Okay,
that's true. He cuts my aunt's hair in New Jersey.
It's true.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't even know how I would verify that, but yeah,
no, it's true. I'm verifying it for you.
How can I make that up?
yeah. All right. Okay, Stu, you're on the clock. You got Ric Flair, woo, and Mr. Perfect.
I got Flair and I've got Perfect. I probably need a baby face in there somewhere, don't I? But I'm not going to do that. You know what? I'm going to go with just shooting from the hip here, brother. I'm going to go with Terry Funk.
Terry Funk, hardcore legend, Terry Funk. Okay, Adam, and your fourth?
I think it's the person who puts all of our, gave us the heebie-jeebies as we all came up. He's probably one of the longest WWE employed wrestlers of all time. I'm going to have to go with The Undertaker.
Oh, The Undertaker. I thought you were going to say the Boogeyman for a second there.
Or Kamala, who's awesome.
Okay. Stu, takers off the table. Who you got left?
Yeah, it's really hard. There's so many, but just because I know you got to know your audience, and I know the host of this show, so I'm gonna play into his hand, and I'm gonna go with dig it, snap into a Slim Jim. I'm gonna go with the Macho Man, Randy Savage, and I know that Benner's gonna be happy about.
Yes, that is a correct answer. I would have also accepted Bret Hart as well.
Yes, Bret Hart I could have put in over Terry Funk, I guess.
But Macho Man, I love Macho Man. I can tell you a quick story about the convention. I went to a convention once and they had a replica Macho Man robe that you could put on, and it was $100. And I was just like, I don't know if I can spend that $100. Like, it was in a box and everything. It was like WWE merchandise that was this robe, and I didn't buy it. And it was like the biggest regret I've ever had at a convention.
Wow.
You want to hear something funny with another wrestling involved thing? Stu and I actually worked and had a pilot going on with Rob Van Dam, and we took Rob and his wife at the time, and it was called Hardcore Home Improvement, and it was a home reno show. But instead of using traditional tools to knock down the houses, we were bringing his wrestling buddies and throw them through walls and demolish the home, and then him and his wife would rebuild the home and design it for the show.
The problem we ran into, that Hardcore Home Improvement, Brazzers was already using it for a series, so we weren't able to.
But that's a true story.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
That is a true story. We really did shoot that Hardcore Home Improvement. That is true.
So just to recap, Adam's Mount Rushmore, we got HBK, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, Ultimate Warrior from Parts Unknown, of course, Tito Santana, and The Undertaker, the Phenom, and Stu, your Mount Rushmore, Ric Flair, Mr. Perfect, Terry Funk, and of course, oh yeah, Macho Man.
Good work rate on my four.
That's a good impression, Benner.
Yeah, I love doing Macho Man impressions. Like, if you get a few beers in me, I'll do Macho Man.
That's how we
all
got
night.
the job hosting this show, because of his macho impression.
Yeah, that's exactly why.
He's better. He's better than Coach Lauren.
There was a time once I ended up in a motel room, like there was like a party happening. It was like a motel. We were all staying at this motel, like all these people at this convention. I went into this motel and I bumped into this guy who's like a wrestling guy, like was just like a wrestling fan. And he was like, "Hey, can anyone do a great Macho Man impression?" And like, we'd had a couple of beers at that point. And so I did this Macho Man impression and I did it all night. And my voice, like I could hardly talk the next day. Like my voice was all blown out and stuff like that. But I actually became friends with that guy. And we're like Facebook friends now, just because I walked into his motel room when he was having a party and did a bunch of Macho Man impressions. So
usually when you go into a hotel room, a motel party, and then someone's like, I went into a motel and we did a bunch of usually Macho Man impressions isn't the thing that comes at the end of that sentence.
Yeah,
so I'm
I would
proud
be
of
like, I thought you were gonna say we did a bunch of mushrooms.
like and I'm pretty sure that the other side of this story is like some guy is like telling his buddies today. He's like, dude, I was at this motel once and this fucking guy comes in and he just starts doing like I told him I like watch wrestling from time to time. Like, every once in a while I watch wrestling. He starts doing Macho Man impressions for the next 2 hours. So that's me. Hey, I'm taking bookings. You can obviously, if you're looking for a Macho Man impression, of course, you can reach out to us at takeover@blackfawndistribution.com, and I'll get back to you and let you know what I charge. I'll send you a rate card and we'll see what we can do. Okay, so rapid fire. We got a couple more questions left. Sorry, that one rapid fire wasn't very rapid on that one, but I don't have a clock to put up on the screen, unfortunately. But let's move on. Rapid fire question number 4. Tell us more. What's one of your favorite stories from a set you've worked on?
I once we on the movie Scarecrows, we hired this crow, and we were like, "What day are we going to shoot the crow?" And we're like, "Well, we'll just keep it to the last day because we don't want to do that." No, we do it on the first day. No, let's push it to the end. Come on, we got to push it. What happens on like the last day is the crow dies, and we had no crow for the movie Scarecrows. And so I had to literally leap into action and create.
He caught a pigeon and like spray painted it black.
Crow.
I'm kidding.
Okay. This is the crow from Scarecrows, by the way.
Yeah.
That comes with
exclusive
a piece on the back where I was able, I can't use it now, but if I go like this, the mouth moved up and down. And that's me pecking Ash's eyes out because we had no crow because it died, and we had to create our own crow.
Who knew that the crow would be allergic to? Who knew the crow would be allergic to chocolate? I thought that only applied to dogs.
Hey, listen, a big shout out to practical effects, right? Practical effects in movies are the best. It's one of those reasons that all the films from the 80s have aged so well and look great. I love that you have that in your office, Adam, the original crow from Scarecrows.
Isn't that cool? I mean, like that's like that, and that's what like making, for me at least, it's like that's what making movies is really about. You got to spring into action. You get to be creative on the fly, solving problems really quickly, and like coming up with solutions. And that's what we do. And that's why Stu and I actually, we think fast, and I think it shows. Also,
you're the producer, right? I mean, every now and again, you got to produce some stuff.
Well, thank you for reminding him.
My story has something to do with Adam's producing. If he wants, there's the Faking a Murder rolling papers. We should give some out on this program.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. If you need some Faking a Murder rolling papers, drop us a line. Tell us what you liked about the show tonight. Takeover@blackfawndistribution.com, and we'll make sure you get some rolling papers from Faking a Murder. How about that?
To bring it full circle, I'll tell you a funny story. It's not necessarily my favorite, but it's a funny one. We flew out to Las Vegas for Jack of All Trades to interview Jose Canseco. You mentioned it at the beginning of the show, so this is a good full circle. And we go and knock on his door, ready to come in and do the interview. And Jose answers the door, and he is not having it. He is like, "Who are you? What are you doing here? Get off my property." We're like, "Huh?" He's like, "If you want to come in," we're like, "No, we're the guys from the baseball cards. We're here to interview." He's like, No. There's no way. You're not coming inside. We're not doing this. Fuck you guys. And then we're like, oh God, we like, what? And so then he's like, no, we had to grease him to like open the door. So Adam had to give like Jose, like, like a $50 handshake. It was more than that, but to like let us in. And so eventually Jose lets us in. and we sit with him, and you go inside of his house, and his main floor where you would see like a kitchen table and like couches in the living room was all poker tables with like Jose Canseco like running bases and hitting home runs on the felt. And he's got it all set up like a poker dungeon in there, which is crazy, right?
There is no furniture, only poker tables.
So we go, and he had just shot his finger off like 2 weeks prior from like some accident shooting in his backyard or something.
Right. I remember hearing about that. Yeah. Yeah.
And so anyway, he ends up letting us in, and we end up interviewing him. And by the end of the interview, he's like, "So what are we doing next? You guys want to go get wings? Like, you guys want to go hit dingers?" Like he was like loved us and like wanted to be our best friend. So that's that's pretty funny.
I remember.
He looks like Lou Ferrigno, like compared to me, like sitting next. He's a monster of a man. And I've been around some professional wrestlers, like Brian Cage comes to mind, just massive, jacked guys. Jose is as big as any of them.
Yeah, I always feel like with Jose Canseco, like I remember watching even when he played for the Jays those last couple near the end of his career, and it was like every swing of the bat was home run or strikeout. Every swing of the bat, and if he connected, he'd hit one like to the moon, right? But
yeah,
I was surprised because I think I recall you telling me that once, that it was like, because I loved Jose Canseco when I was a kid. When I grew up, I always wanted Jose Canseco baseball cards and whatnot. And yeah, I think I was surprised that you sent me that photo today to post on our Instagram, but I was like, well, they all look so happy in this photo, so I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah,
we're cool.
He's great.
Jose's cool. He gave us a booklet like to save like on various different items at the Jose Canseco Showtime Car Wash, which is located in Carson, Nevada, I believe. But we still have the coupons that you can get like a free buff, or you can get like a soft drink while you wait for your car. We have like, he ended up liking us at the end.
Awesome. Okay. And speaking of baseball, nice segue into our question number 5, rapid fire. Of course, have your say. The upcoming baseball season will likely be postponed after negotiations broke down earlier today between the league and representatives and the Players Association. Would you care to comment?
Sure. I think that, of course, that's going to happen the year that the Blue Jays are like primed and ready to make a run. This is like 1994, 95, all over again for like how the Expos were like finally good and the season got canceled. I don't know if the season's going to get canceled this year. I do believe in my heart of hearts there will be baseball this year. But as a Blue Jays fan and as a big baseball fan, this is really a bad look. The game was already sort of surviving various different scandals and various different reasons to tune out. And this is not going to help their cause. They need to come together and they need to get this thing going. And we need to get Vladdy and Bo and the boys back on the field. Go Jays, go. Adam?
I'm learning about this happening right now. Like I didn't know. This is news to me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I didn't know that. That sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. It's I don't know what it is about baseball, but
so no baseball. They're saying there's going to be you can't play baseball.
They're saying the games are going to be postponed because the Players Association and the league can't agree on I can't remember if it's a new collective bargaining agreement.
They want to add more teams to the playoffs. They want to do a lot of things. Yeah, it's a lockout. It's not a strike.
It's a lockout. So I mean, I don't know why they keep doing this to themselves. I mean,
that's crazy after like COVID and like sports games being postponed and all these things happening.
I mean, they had all that time.
Finally, you're allowed. Like what's going on? Yeah, it seems that to me, it seems like there's some political something else going on there that they're not. They have had time to work it out. There hasn't been a direct way to watch sports live in the past 2 years. Why are they going to start doing this within the league when it's time for everyone to get out there and feel good and go watch some basketball?
Well, I was saying the same thing today, yesterday. When someone asked me, I said, "Look, people are ready for ball. Like people are ready for baseball this year because everyone remembers how shitty this sort of like the pandemic season was." And this is one of the things where things are kind of slowly getting back to normal, but you can go out and sit in a ballpark outside, have a hot dog, have a beer, and like you're not jammed into like a club or something, right? Like it's something that you can do, and as people feel like more and more safe and more back to normal as we kind of get back to normal after this, horrible thing. And now they're saying, yeah, guess what? We're not going to play games. And it's like I don't know, man. I mean, at least they got Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, right?
I agree on that, and that's a hot take, brother. That's a hot take.
Yeah. Anyway, it's called rapid fire. We won't get too far down the rabbit hole. Of course, the correct answer to this question was no. But in either event, listen, we're gonna take a quick commercial break. Are you guys able to stick around for a few more minutes, and we'll get to wrapping this thing up?
Sure.
Okay, awesome. That was Rapid Fire, obviously brought to us by Wellington Brewery's Hellas Lager. Take advantage of Wellington Brewery's local brewery store located in Guelph, Ontario, or pick up some cans of your favorite beer at your local LCBO or wherever you pick up your adult beverages. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be back with Adam and Stu from 5-7 Films and the creators of Faking a Murder right after this.
Black Fawn Distro. Movies, merchandise, available now at blackfawndistribution.com.
Okay, and we're back with Black Fawn Distro's Takeover Tuesday. I'm in the virtual studio with Adam Rodness, producer, and Stu Stone, director. They both co-founded 5-7 Films. I'm glad to have you guys back. Thanks for sticking around, and thanks for being such good sports with Rapid Fire. It's something we like to do, and we have never let anyone off the hook for that. So thank you for participating again. Your participation ribbon will be in the mail. Listen, getting back to talking about films and stuff, I wanted to just kind of change gears a little bit and talk to you guys about, of course, tragically, comedic legend, Bob Saget passed away recently, and you guys had a working relationship with him. I just wanted to kind of talk to you guys about, of course, it's a horrible tragedy, and that guy is someone who sort of touched people in a comedic way in various outlets. Everyone knows him from somewhere, whether it's stand-up comedy or Full House or America's Home Videos. Can you guys just reflect on that a little bit? Like, what did he mean to you guys, like professionally and even comedically?
Yeah, I mean, Stu would have to speak more to it. I was just kind of there on the sidelines. But I mean, I got to witness him really help propel Stu's career when he was introduced into Stu's life. And, he could tell the story better than me, but, he was gracious enough to perform on a song with Stu and Jamie Kennedy for their show and shoot this cool music video. And I got to spend a couple nights kind of, riding the coattails and seeing what rolling with Saget's all about. But I guess Stu's the one to lead this conversation.
Yeah. Well, as Adam alluded to, there's a music video called Rolling with Saget. It's a Bob Saget rap song that we recorded. Jamie Kennedy and I recorded. Shout out to Decisive, who produced the beat and co-wrote the song. We did this track. Jamie and I were, he had just had success with Malibu's Most Wanted, which is a fairly funny movie. And he wanted to do a Malibu's Most Wanted, like, rap album, a B-Rad rap album. And so he had hired me to sort of write and produce like a B-Rad album. And so I started sort of putting songs together, and we were doing these demos, and I would be rapping them, and then he'd be coming in and I'd be kind of showing him how to do this and that. It sort of broke down to we started having so much fun. We started doing it together, and we started making funny songs together. At some point we got serious about it, and we were trying to actually get a record deal. And the record companies were like, well, you need to get a feature on one of your songs. That's what these new artists in hip hop do. You got to get someone with some credibility to co-sign you on a track. So we reached out to Jay-Z and Nas and all these greats, and everybody was like, no. And so we're sitting around one day, and I'm sort of just going through Jamie's phone. I'm like, who can we get? And I was like, what about someone like Jeff Goldblum? He's like, yeah, Goldblum would probably do it. And so I'm going.
And when was this, Stu? This
was in 2004.
Okay.
When the idea first came about. And then I was going through his phone. I got to he texted Goldblum, and Goldblum was shooting something and was not available. So then I got to his phone and I was going through the A's, and then I got to B, and Bob Saget popped up, and I'm like, oh my God, Bob Saget. And Jamie's like, yeah, let's call Bob. And so we called Bob, and he said, sure. And so we came up with this Rolling with Bob Saget song. And the first time I ever spent real time with Bob was like alone. Jamie didn't even show up at the studio. And it was like me and Bob and this Israeli sound engineer that like didn't speak English. So it was like me and Bob and this guy in a recording studio. And I was like sort of teaching Bob how to rap. He was so funny. And I was so starstruck by Bob. And I've been around celebrities. You know, I grew up in the business, and I've been in projects with very famous people and have worked with famous people. And I get starstruck by athletes, not by like actors and singers. But Bob was like, I was starstruck by Bob because he was such a huge part of pop culture, especially for people at my age. You know, like you mentioned Full House and America's Funniest Home Videos, and he was just everywhere. So to find out how cool he was in real life and how giving he was with his time, he single-handedly launched Jamie and I's like rap career. Not that maybe he should be blamed for that more than thanked, but single-handedly launched that. We ended up getting an MTV series, which Bob was on the entire run of the series, and Adam spent a lot more time than a few nights with Bob. And we were spending so much time with him, hanging out, and we did the HBO Comedy Festival where we rapped with him live in Vegas in front of thousands of people. He was such a good sport. He was so giving of his time. He was, you know, people say, you know, oh, when someone dies, you're like, oh, he was the best. Like Bob really was. Nobody's going to say something bad about Bob. He's just so cool. Even years later, he kept in touch. The most recent message I got from him was in December when he was telling me how proud he was of faking a murder. You know, he was very much still involved on, like, you know, he touched base. I love you. I'm proud of you. That's the type of stuff that he would constantly tell me, and I'm sure other people that had relationships with him. It's shocking that he's gone. It's really weird that he's gone. The circumstances behind his death are bizarre. I don't really understand what happened fully, and I don't know if we ever will, but he is definitely missed by me and anybody. You know, he's, you know, my nephew's bar mitzvah. I called him. I'm like, hey, it's my nephew's bar mitzvah. Can you do a video? And he's like, this is before Cameo, right? And he was like, yeah, sure. And he sent this like 11-minute long video that was like way longer than it needed to be, just because like that's
he actually also signed on to one of our movies.
Oh, one of our 5-7 Films movies. He was supposed to do the voice of the voice of a talking dog in this movie we wrote. That didn't end up happening, and now it probably won't. Well, it obviously won't. But it's just a tragic loss. And Bob is just a great guy. And I'm still very friendly with his nephew, whose name is Adam. He's a great guy, and I've spoken to him. And Jodie Sweetin, who is Stephanie on Full House, is a friend as well. And it's, you know, we've been able to sort of talk, and Jamie and I have been able to talk, and it's been nice to be able to sort of talk to people who are close that understand what I'm feeling. But it's very sad. Bob was a really, really, really great guy, and he's only 65 years old. I know he had a lot left. I kind of figured that he would just grow old and just be one of those like Ed Asner type guys that's like 90 and still like making dirty jokes, because Bob's sense of humor is the filthiest. Bob is a filthy comic. Like people think he's vanilla because of like Full House, but like in real life he's like Rocky Road. He's not vanilla.
Well, and he had
no, I'm just gonna say.
No, I was gonna say like that's how I always, remember Bob Saget was from when I was a little kid, from America's Funniest Home Videos, and like when I'm watching that as a kid, realizing that I just thought he was the host. I didn't realize that he did all the comedy sort of behind.
The voices are all him on that show,
right? And I didn't realize that until, you know, you start watching it when you're like 7 or 8. You don't understand it, right? But you just like, oh, a guy got kicked in the balls, hilarious, right? So, but I remember, and then the Aristocrats came out, and it was, you know, it was like this whole different side of Bob Saget. And then he showed up. I think he was on Entourage for a while too. And you sort of had
that
this
was
different
after we recorded the song already. So we were like, oh man, right. He's on Entourage. He's going to kill our gimmick.
Yeah. So, and you know, and feeling like, you kind of rediscovered him, and then you kind of found out that like he did have this really kind of crass but also funny sense of humor, where
God.
sort of everything was funny, sort of in the right context.
In life, that's how he was. Like a waiter would come and like ask, "What can I take your order?" And Bob would be there like firing off like, I can't even believe he said that types of jokes. He came up under Rodney. Rodney was his like mentor. Like he came up in the clubs like carrying Rodney's bags, and sort of that style is sort of what was inbred into him. And for him to play, it shows you what a talented entertainer he is, because the type of comic he was, the fact that you would never guess he's like that, shows you how good he was at playing Danny Tanner.
Yeah.
And how good he was being that vanilla host of America's Funniest Videos, because that's not who he is. That's
a character.
Yeah.
And my point being, like, just to finish this thought too, was like, you find out there's this whole other side of him. And then even after all of that, you always heard stories that like, yeah, Bob Saget's like this filthy comic, like you said, he's got this filthy sense of humor, but also like a big heart, really, really caring about other people, and just an all around good dude.
Major philanthropist, also dollars every year for the disease that his sister passed away of. Like it's terrible, man. It's a terrible loss. Yeah. He's a legend, and I'm so honored that I got a chance to have experienced Bob the way that I did. And the music video Rolling with Saget has sort of gotten a new life in Bob's afterlife, I guess. And you see guys like John Stamos playing our song on his Instagram, and it's like, wow, it's crazy that because he used our song as his intro for every comedy show he did for the last 15 years. He'd come out to our song, he'd leave to our song. Any appearance he ever did, they would play the song or the video. His Comedy Central roast featured the song in the whole video. It's that song became so a staple in Bob Saget, and it's just amazing that I got to play even a small part in Bob's story, but he played such a huge part in mine. So Bob, wherever you are, man, we miss you, pal.
Awesome. I remember someone asked me once, they said, has there ever been a celebrity that's like passed away that's really affected you? And I had to think for a moment, and this was a few years ago. And I said, I think probably the person that, at least, film star or television star was Robin Williams. Robin Williams passed away, because even though I didn't know Robin Williams, obviously,
that was shocking.
It felt like you lost an uncle. Like it felt like you lost an extension of your family, not your sort of nuclear family like around you, but just someone that you saw every once in a while, and someone that you felt you kind of knew. And I kind of felt the same way when I heard about Bob. Right? It's just it's just a tragic series of events, I guess. Of, like you mentioned, Stu, like maybe we'll never know what really happened, and very odd, but still like a tragic loss for comedy and film and television.
And people in general, like just a loss of a great guy, just a great guy. And you know what? You don't realize how big this guy was when we were. I mean, I don't even know if I should be saying this, but whatever. We're on here. I remember he was getting divorced at one point from his first wife, and he was talking to us about it. And he was like, it's hard, it's difficult, and we're working on our settlement. And we finally reached the settlement, and I'm gonna have to like write her a check. And Jamie's like, well, how much do you have to give her? He's like, 50 million. Like, what? 50? He's like, yeah. And me and Jamie look at each other, and we're like, that's half. 50. This guy is like, what? Like, that's how big this guy was. Like, you don't even think about it, but all those Full House episodes and America's Funniest Home Videos,
the syndication,
Bob was sitting on stacks.
Yeah, and just kind of probably did the projects that he wanted to work on.
Yeah,
as opposed to doing projects he had to work on, right?
Yeah, like and just think of it though. He had that kind of life, but he still would do a small indie project for Stu and I. Like it's like that's the type of guy, Like that's a great example.
Awesome.
Unbelievable.
Well, wherever you are, Bob Saget, thanks for the memories. Thanks for all the laughs, for sure. And thanks, Stu. I appreciate you sharing. I know he was a special guy in your life, for sure. And I wanted to talk to you about it.
Thanks, man. People should check out the Rolling with Saget video, and they'll see a special cameo from George Lucas in the video too. We'll talk about that next time.
Yeah, I feel like every time I talk to you, Stu, I always feel like you've lived like 2 or 3 lives. I feel like you can talk. Yeah, I feel like we could talk forever. And of course, Adam, you've got a bunch of stories as well and a bunch of experiences also. You guys are
I'm still so young.
Yeah, that's right.
I have a lot. I have
a couple lives. I'm ahead of him by a life or two.
So let's just talk about let's thanks so much for your time and for doing this. I really do appreciate it. Before we kind of get moving on, just let's just pitch Faking a Murder one last time for anyone out there looking to check out the film. Of course, it's a fantastic film. You got to check out this unreal true crime story. It's amazing and pretty unbelievable to be honest. But you can check it out across Canada on VOD platforms, including Rogers, TELUS, Shaw, Kojiko, and SaskTel, and it'll be launching on Google Play, iTunes, and YouTube later on this month. So Faking a Murder, check it out. You guys are also just back from, like you mentioned previously in the program, back from Winnipeg shooting your new film Bandits. Wanted to talk to you a little bit about this. I know you're currently in the editing bay putting this together and have been over the last couple of weeks. What can you tell us about the new project and what can we expect?
I think you could take this. It's about 4 stoner idiots who have a bright idea to knock over a senior citizens bingo hall on Christmas Eve. And with their winnings or stealings, they're going to cash it in for Bitcoin so they can all buy some Lambos.
That's literally the plot of the movie. Like these guys are going to rob a bingo hall to buy Bitcoin so they can get Lambos.
Now it gets better because inside the bingo hall, it's filled with a few employees who are played by the most incredible people ever. So we could tease a couple stars in the film, but we have Rob Wells, who we know as Ricky from the Trailer Park Boys.
Awesome.
We have the magnificent Canadian legend Jan Arden, who is also makes an incredible appearance in the film. Enrico Colantoni, who is best known from our age group from Galaxy Quest. He was the lead on Flashpoint. He's been in everything.
Just Shoot Me.
Just Shoot Me. He's just an incredible talent. Tony Napo, Francesco Antonio, Victoria Turco, Jesse Camacho from Lock and Key.
Legend. Jesse Camacho, who, by the way, on set I would call him Jesse the Camacho Man.
He's the Camacho Man. But we literally brought up, these guys from all parts of the country, convinced them. I didn't do much convincing because they really loved the story and how out there it was.
They also loved Faking a Murder, by the way.
And a lot of them saw Faking and are like, oh, what do these guys have next up their sleeve? And they all came out and we were able to make this incredible movie. And we're editing it now, and Stu and I are both looking at it. And sometimes throughout the process, the movie changes in the edit, but we could honestly say that this is the movie that we wrote, and it's really exciting, and we're really pumped to fucking show everybody what we have.
The elevator pitch is, it's like if Ocean's 11 took place in Fargo or Napoleon Dynamite. Like, these guys think they're Ocean's 11, but they're really like Ocean's 10. And that's pretty much like the Kirkland Ocean's 11.
Ocean's 4, you mean?
Yeah, they're like, no frills, Notions 11. But and I'm really looking forward to it. And of course, we're very excited. Hopefully we'll get to work with you guys on Bandits as well. But, there's, as hard as Adam and I work, we definitely respect the Black Fawn team and Benner. We've worked with you on a few releases now. And obviously we got to give credit to you guys because you guys are independent and you guys work your asses off. And just like Adam and I have to wear a lot of hats, you wear a lot of hats. I saw you wear 2 hats tonight.
Yeah, there you go.
Literally. But you guys really provide a great outlet and an outreach for Canadian filmmakers, especially in the genre space, a space that we love to play in. And you get eyeballs on people's movies. And at this stage in the game, I think for everybody that's making movies that are at this level, the main goal is for people to see them. And the fact that you're helping people get eyeballs on them, it's huge, and we appreciate the fact that we get to work with guys like you, and we hopefully can make Faking a Murder a huge success. And, just like Scarecrows did, what did you say, 200,000 downloads? We got to top that number.
Well, I appreciate the words, man. It means a lot for sure. And like I said, I mean, like talking to you guys too is always inspirational as well, just because I feel like you have such a good understanding of who each of you are. And when you're talking films or pitching films or promoting films, like that always comes through 100%. It never seems to come through as disingenuous or just an ad, right? Like I know you guys are passionate, and that's why we like working with you too. And that's why we like working with independent filmmakers like yourselves, is just because, you know, we kind of share that as well. And we just like getting shit out there. And, you know, there's a lot of other companies, you know, here and there over the years and the history of, let's say, North America that, you know, maybe haven't been doing it for the right reasons. And we always try and keep that in check ourselves. And hopefully we're doing a good job. Let us know in the comments below. Anyway, just to wrap things up, how can people get in touch if they want to reach out to 5
Adam's phone number is
Stu can be reached at 3241. No, you can follow me. I'm at Adam Rodness. That's RODNESS all over all the social medias. And our website 57films.com.
There's also 57 Films Instagram page. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Stu Stone. I'm on JDate at Stu Stoned. So if you want to get on there, the D is silent. You never know. I mean, maybe I'll find love from being on this show tonight.
Dude, that would be and for your return to the program, like when you return the 5th time and you get your purple jacket for being a guest for 5 times, hopefully you would have that story to tell.
I can only imagine the type of woman or man that I can meet on a Black Fawn Distro chat.
Hey, there's only one way to find out.
I guess we'll find out.
That's coming from Stu Studio. It's not coming from the Black Fawn Distro Takeover Tuesday studio. Yes. I definitely don't want to scare off any future guests from the program. No matter what you say, we'll have a weird sound effect to play to make what you said just now like seem ridiculous. But I love that shit, man, and I love you guys. Thanks again for doing the show. Of course, if you're looking to get in touch with Black Fawn Distros Takeover Tuesday or have a recommendation, please drop us a line at takeover@blackfawndistribution.com. And of course, check out Faking a Murder. It's available on all the VOD platforms, or most of the VOD platforms across Canada, including your local cable providers of Rogers, Telus, Shaw, Cogeco, and SaskTel. And also, it'll be dropping on iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube later on this month, which is March, just in case anyone's listening to this at a later date. Okay, so guys, of course, you know, thanks for doing this again. Really appreciate it. Anything else to add before we go? Last words, Adam, you can go first.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know what I was walking into, and I had a good time. It was a good conversation. It's been 2 hours, and I wasn't bored. So that's a good sign. I appreciate the time you take to do, you know, what you can to help us get our shit out there. And I just hope that Stu and I keep, you know, growing, and we'll grow together as a team. And everyone out there, you know, thanks for supporting us, and reach out. Let us know what's up, what you hate, what you like, what you're thinking about. We're always here for you.
I want to give a special shout out to my mom. I want to give a shout
I also want to say hi to my mom. Hi, Mom.
I want to give a shout out to my Aunt Sandy, who's watching. She's 95 years old. Hey, Auntie, you could go to bed now. I also want to give a shout out to Lindsay, who's watching. She's a big fan of yours, Benner. You may be getting a DM from her a little bit later. And I want to give a shout out to the Black Fawn Distro family and all of the people that have contributed and collaborated with 57 Films. The best is yet to come. There's more to come. So I'll be back for my 3rd appearance sooner than later.
Awesome. I'm gonna say goodnight. I'm gonna say goodnight to Sophie and Stella, my little girls, and
Mace
my wife,
the dog,
Tina, and Mace. Go to bed, Mace. He probably needs to go for a pee. My dad and my grandma. You know, my uncle.
This is going on forever. You have to cut him off. You have to.
Like, yeah. Can we edit this out later?
Not gonna stop.
Hey, we're live, man. That's why we do this. We love the live aspect. It's a lot of stress to do, but we just feel it's like the most honest way to kind of promote a conversation online. Of course, we love you dudes for sure. Thanks so much for making movies, and we wish you obviously all the success with Faking a Murder and the next one, Bandits, which is dropping you know, whenever. to be determined. And someone's going to take that little clip of me saying that and with that sound effect, and then that'll be like my little sound clip. That's what I'll come out to whenever I do a comedy special, apparently. Of course, thanks everyone for tuning in to another edition of Black Fawn Distro's Takeover Tuesday. We are, of course, broadcasting live to Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, and retransmitting to all the major streaming platforms, including Apple and Spotify. Please like, follow, share, and subscribe if you can on whatever platform you're listening to us on. And if you want to go the extra mile, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. It helps recommend the show to other film fans across the planet, and of course helps out our guests like these two fine gentlemen and the super cool projects that they're working on. So quick shout out to our sponsors again: Wellington Brewery's Hellas Lager, Deadly Grounds Coffee, and Twisted Teas. Thanks everyone again. Stu, Adam, 5-7 Films, Faking a Murder. Thank you so much for dropping by, and we'll see you soon. Stick around as we go off the air. I just want to catch up with you guys once we stop being live and end the broadcast. But until next time, we'll see you soon.
Thanks.
And that does it for another episode of Black Fawn Distro's Takeover Tuesday. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, please remember to like, follow, share, and subscribe, and help us spread the word about the program and our incredible guests. If you're interested in grabbing some more information about Black Fawn Distribution or want to check out our film titles and merchandise, you can find us online at blackfawndistribution.com. We'd also like to thank our sponsors: Wellington Brewery's Hellas Lager, Deadly Grounds Coffee, Twisted Teas, and of course, Black Fawn Distribution. Just a reminder, you can always catch Black Fawn Distro's Takeover Tuesday live on Facebook, YouTube, and our other social media platforms. Or pick up one of our retransmissions on any of the major streaming platforms. Until next time, I'm your host Benner from Black Fawn Distro, and we'll see you soon.